over there.
Yeah.
I literally thought, I was like, is Lew shooting those off so we know where it's at? He's like, yo, man, come over here already. Whoosh.
Putting out the signal.
That my neighbor just pops them off all the time. I started recording, by the way. My bad.
Yeah.
I usually just kind of do it like that.
You're good, man. You're good.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Loser Lou, chilling in the west side, the back of the room. Another long day at work. Not long enough, but it's 54 degrees or so. January 12th, 2023. I have my boy Joaquin here tonight. I've been trying to get him here for a couple months now. I'm happy we finally got to do it. Joaquin, if they want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
You could find me at, I want to push this one. It's Joaquin Soul Music, at Joaquin Soul Music on Instagram. But I go by Joaquin Muerte, so just if you Google Joaquin Muerte, all my social medias come up.
Hey, and what's going on Jaime's Place next month? Is it next month?
Actually, I'm chilling on Jaime's Place for a minute. We're doing the markets. We're doing El Mercadito, but because it's starting to get cold, it's just...
So you aren't going to do the show your Stacy's?
Actually, so... It's complicated, right? So show us your Stacy's. It's complicated because I'm like I would say like I'm a cultural ambassador for the West Side. I'm an organizer, a community organizer, and so some people look for me to help bring people into events or help bring people together to do like things, like to do community organizing stuff, right? Jaime looks at me as a cultural ambassador for Jaime's Place. Because when he wants significant, meaningful events to happen there, he asks me, what can we do? Which is where El Mercadito came to be, right? I was doing a coat drive in the West Side, and we started doing a market, and then we started DJing records and stuff, you know? The Show Us Your Stacy's was a counter to Fiesta, because we were just like, dude, you know, Fiesta's Fiesta, but what are we doing culturally for Fiesta? And I said, we should bring, you know, Barrio West Side, the feel of Barrio West Side to the West Side. Show up and show out. Dress up in your best and come to the West Side and show it. Let's bring that back up. The classy Chicano style of dress.
Hey, I'm with it. I was there last year. I'm going this year. Like, is it happening?
It is gonna happen.
All right.
But it's happening on this. It's happening on the same day that my friend Arturo and Sarah are getting married. So I'm DJing that birthday. I mean that wedding. So I will not be at Show Us Your Stacy's, but Show Us Your Stacy's is happening.
What day is that falling on?
I think it's April 22nd.
It's April. I thought it was in Feb. I thought it was like next month. Damn.
No, it's April, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It's April. There's a lot happening though, man. We're on the move. We're all on the move, man. It's like we're all moving for sure.
Felipe, if they want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
You can find me online on Instagram, Felipe Jr. SA, like FELIPE JR SA, like San Antonio. On there, I got like my link tree on my Instagram with all my music and stuff that I've done, stuff I've done with Joaquin as well. So if you look that up, all my links are on there.
That's what's up. Angel, if they want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
So I had several different ways. I have my personal, it's 7:10. And then I lead the Puro Unity. It's a community initiative.
Yeah, I've heard of that before.
So I've partnered with Joaquin when they were doing Mercadito, and then we kind of like started talking, and some of our projects started to overlap, and I started branding stuff with the crew, helping build out crate royalties, helping build out
that's the crew.
So that's the crew. So well, it's bigger, and once we dive into it, we'll start to see that we started to expand. So one of the things I was doing personally was 7:10. That was me as an artist, and then
what kind of music?
No, me as an artist, as a creative illustrator.
Okay.
I've been working in advertising for 20 plus years. Connected with Joaquin, started Puro Unity, and then I just launched this year a union of, which is all my branding stuff. So on Instagram, it's 7:10, and the other handle is Puro Unity, and then the third one is a union of, which is our new branding stuff, which is my wife and I. We brand that.
Yeah, so Angel, man, Angel's an amazing graphic designer. He's like a corporate graphic designer. And I remember the first time I ever heard of him, we ran into him in Houston, and we were talking. He was like, "Yeah, man, you know, I'm doing like this. I do like graphic design and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. You know, he makes flyers and stuff." And he was just like, "Nah, man, I'm like a graphic designer." And he like showed me he was doing was it a Geico?
Oh, hell yeah.
I was doing, I was doing more corporate brands. I did stuff for AAA. I've done stuff for Walmart. I've done stuff for Coca-Cola. I've done stuff for Sony Electronics. But yeah, it was really heavy corporate gigs. That's what I was doing here locally in San Antonio when industry was here. The advertising industry was here. Hispanic advertising was based in San Antonio. That was Bromley Aguilar, Lionel Sosa. So it was like heavy here in San Antonio, but it faded out.
So those people that you mentioned were
they a lot of those organizations closed up shop here in San Antonio.
But what were they?
They were advertising agencies.
Oh,
they
okay.
were the Hispanics, so they were
the Chicano madmen.
They were the Chicano madmen. Lionel Sosa was the godfather of advertising. He was the Chicano godfather.
Sick.
Yeah. And he's still here. And he's still here,
man. He still is. Yeah. There's badass art. They're badass visual artists, and you'll see their stuff like at the museum. You know what I mean? Versus some of the folks we see like it's mostly online. But this dude is like you walk into a government building and this guy has his stuff in there.
Sick.
Yeah. Lionel Sosa.
So what you got going on lately?
There's a lot.
I know. Well, first of all, I love bumping into you in La Fitness, bro. I love that. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, that's what I call it.
La Fitness pizza in my mouth. Yeah, man. I honestly, it's good to see you there too, man. And I was glad that we were able to see each other there, because it's like new life for me. I'm like I was saying earlier, I'm 2.5 years sober.
Congrats, man.
And I haven't been, and I don't like to talk too much about it because Ben, I'm also a musician and people hold you accountable, and I never want to be sober. I'm just doing it.
It's a path that you're taking, and keep doing what you got to do to keep yourself sane. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so every time I start feeling the itch, like I was like, yo, I want to drink something, I would go to La Fitness and go run 2 miles, and get myself super tired, and then I was, I don't know how you feel walking into the gym, but sometimes when I first started going, it felt like people were watching me, dude. And so then I would try to hide in a corner or just do the treadmill. And then at some point I realized that people were too busy watching themselves.
Yeah, they're too busy
in the
selfies.
Mirror. Yeah. And so I was just like, nobody's paying attention. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to hit the weights. So I started diving into the thing. I started watching YouTube videos. I started diving deep into bodybuilding and weightlifting and how to do it in a healthy, focused way. And so then, I started off with, doing arm stuff and doing chest stuff. And then at some point I started learning what they call the push-pull-leg method, which is you work everything that you push, and then you work everything that you pull, and then you work all your legs on. And so then I do that every other day, plus the run. And dude, I lost 100 pounds.
Yeah,
dropped 100 pounds.
It shows.
And so now the goal is to fit in the clothes that I've never been able to fit in. I was a big guy, man. So now I'm I have a couple more waist sizes to drop, and I'll be like a normal person. I just could shop in a regular store. I don't have to shop at Big and Tall anymore. You know what I mean?
Hey, you're lucky you're tall.
Yeah, I still got to shop in the tall stuff, man. I'm still looking for XLT. But yeah, I was wearing size 56, size 52. You know what I mean? I was a big guy, dude. And and so that's always a big guy struggle, man. It's wearing pants and shit, and it's like it affects everything. It affects the way people look at you. It affects how people look at the things that you're doing. So Los Nahualatos was something that I was doing, and it's I was singing a lot of the songs. But I wasn't confident enough to be front man. I was a drummer and I was just doing the drums, And so when I started to drop weight, I was just like, yo, let me get in the front. Let me start singing up front. And we started getting drummers involved, and we have drummers in the project. So then I was like, I started to feel better about it, more confidence, more
That's
energy.
badass. That's good to hear.
Yeah, but so yeah, man. So I've been doing this new project that I have called Joaquin, and it's a Chicano soul, original Chicano soul. Writing the music, producing the music, teaching it to the musicians, and then performing it. We do a range of Chicano oldies that go from 1960s to 1970s. Sometimes we'll break into the late 1970s, doing stuff like Stevie Wonder, and doing Denise Williams covers. And then, but we're writing a lot of original projects.
Is any of that music available anywhere?
No, it's a project that you can't actually listen to. No, I'm just kidding.
No, this guy.
Yeah, actually, so we're waiting to release the actual music until it's pressed on 45.
Oh, okay.
So we want to actually have a physical copy of a 45, a record, and then after we do that, we're gonna release it online. But
so who's in that band with you?
so it's right now there's several of us and several right now, so Felipe plays the guitar on that project. Me and Felipe have been working together for over 16, 15 years, maybe less,
something like
that. Like
so y'all
14.
known each other for a minute.
Well, yeah. So when I moved over here, he's some of the first folks that I met, and we started getting involved in music.
Where'd you move from?
So I'm originally from Del Rio, man. Del Rio, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Off the border of Acuña and Del Rio. I was born in a barrio called San Felipe, and when I moved over here for college, and I was trying to be an anthropologist, and I met a piano player and went straight into music. Started playing, but I had been a musician since I was a kid. But I started studying it, and then I dropped out. Anyway, so Felipe plays the guitar. Mando Luna, who plays for a old school 1970s band called The Changes, plays the bass. So he's an older guy, and he rocks, man. He knows how to do exactly what he just has the vision. He has the vision. And it's amazing to play with him, man. And so I play with him also in some other projects like the San Antunes, which is our corporate sponsor.
We're actually working musicians also, so we have different projects that we do, including the one he just talked about, which is like a second job basically. And we've worked with different musicians, including Mondo, who's the bass player for Joaquin.
Yeah, and we play corporate gigs, or we'll play we'll play weddings, and we'll play where corporations are looking for bands to play in the background, and we'll do that. And we charge. We have 3 horn players, 2 percussionists, drums. We can have a 12-piece, or we can have a 4-piece.
Oh, crazy! So you can
have
do the big band if you want.
Yeah, but and out of that project, we're able to kind of do some more creative, because it'll help us fund an opportunity for us to chill and do more of our creative projects. Who else is on there? Amanda Joy Thompson is a voice, so it's a doo-wop trio. So it's 3 voices singing. And we harmonize, and that's something that I think is very special to San Antonio, which makes, I think, the Chicano soul special and unique. So we do a lot of what the Roy Jesters did in the 3-part harmony. And so Amanda Joy Thompson is our high alto, and then Andre Bates is our tenor, and then I'm the lead voice on that. Currently, we have some working drummers, but we have a homeboy, Nick Valdez, sitting in for the next couple gigs. And then Chris Malacara plays the keys on that. So it's a full band, man. Am I missing somebody? I will say that one thing that I feel like we're doing that is very special and unique to music is that Angel also is a member of the band. But Angel doesn't play any instruments, but what he does is he's like the person who's like our creative content person. So
I feel that.
The rest of us are busy, man. We're on stage, we're practicing, whatever. So a lot of us don't ever think to pull out the camera to take pictures. But also, he's an amazing artistic designer, graphic designer and stuff. So whenever we need a flyer, and the venue is just hey, can you, we want to put you on the flyer. I'm just you want me to handle that? We can handle that. And so then we'll just get Angel to handle all that business,
Sick.
So it's it's an 8-piece band.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8-piece band, which includes a graphic designer.
That's badass.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. But it's Chicano soul, Chicano doo-wop. For us, it's we're like the San Antonio version of what Penrose is putting out, the Sacred Souls, the Altons and that kind of stuff. But we're we're coming from the land of Chicano doo-wop, which is San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah, man. Actually, our debut show, we opened up for the Sacred Souls at Jaime's place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When was that? That was back in September, end of September, beginning October.
But actually, we're celebrating. Yeah, that was the first time we ever played in front of people as Joaquin. But the first time that we ever, so we have the music already recorded and mastered and everything. And the first time we did it is literally a year ago today, literally. We did it. Yeah. We did it in January 12th, January 13th was the day that we were in the studio, man. And we were over in Austin at Kiko Villamizar, man. Shout out Kiko. we were at his studio called Wepa Studios, and they were like a heavy cumbia studio, but their engineers know like this lo-fi sound, and so they like, you know, they took care of us, man. It was amazing.
Badass.
And it was only 3 of us at the time, and we were just, it was a concept, and I was like, I have the song, y'all learn these parts, and so we had Homeboy sit on the drums, we had Homeboy sit on the guitar, and then I did all 4-part harmonies on the thing, and just kind of like this, we were sitting around like this, and we recorded the shit out of those 2 songs. So,
sick.
Yeah, man.
It wasn't only a year ago that we recorded, but it's also this dude's birthday,
Yeah. My birthday is January 13th.
which is tomorrow or 2 hours.
Oh, hey, happy birthday,
Thanks,
bruh.
man. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Damn. Well,
I'm turning 21.
oh, let's go. Let's go.
Cheers.
He said I'm turning 21.
Cheers.
Man.
Yeah.
If you could be 21 again, what would you do a little different?
So I grew up on a border town, man, and so I had already been drinking. So when I turned 21, it was just like I launched myself deeper into the drink. If I could turn 21 again, I think I would really focus deeper onto my graffiti art. At the time, I was in love with graffiti, man.
What you write?
I used to write REG 4514.
Oh wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, well, so it's just REG, but I was doing the 4514 to determine myself from the other REG that was already very famous. But REG is the piece of my last name, Abrego. My last name is Abrego, and so I wrote that little piece, and then but I got in trouble for it, man. I got in trouble for graffiti, and it rocked my world. Literally, it was a lifetime of trying to figure out how to deal with my felony and move around it. And then, so, you know, if I could do it, I would probably be more artistic and less vandal. Because I was heavy vandal. Yeah. For me, it was more about bombing than it was about learning the craft, you know. But even though I was trying to do like one-liners or like, you know, quick bombs and stuff, I wish that I would have dived deeper into learning how to piece and be more like do characters and that kind of stuff. But yeah, and then not drink so much. I was a fucking drunk, dude. I was a young little drunk. But
believe me, I know what you mean. I'm an old drunk, and I was an old drunk, a young drunk too. Yeah. What about you, Felipe?
Oh man, I'm just a big music nerd. Since I've known this guy, and even before, I've been playing music. Like I mentioned, I got a bunch of links. I came out with an album of my own, 2020. It's like a 10-track album called Hope Bliss. You can find it on my Instagram, Felipe Jr. SA. I got that.
Is that on like iTunes, Spotify, anything like that?
Yeah, it's on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever team you're on, Spotify, Apple Music. I also got it on Bandcamp. It's a mix of like indie punk style, all kinds of influences, man. But the more recent thing has been with Joaquin, the Joaquin Soul Project. Before that, even I was jamming with him in Nahualatos.
Yeah, so Felipe plays the bass for Los Nahualatos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are y'all still around? Y'all still doing it like that?
Man, we're still doing like that. Yeah,
I remember I saw y'all practice a long time ago. I don't know if you remember. I remember Dabs was in the band at the time.
That's right. Dabs was in the project at the time. Yeah. We're still around, man. We're celebrating.
That's badass, bro.
16
That's
years.
good.
16 years of playing music, Nahualatos, yeah. Which is also an original project that we all sat around and wrote. And Nahualatos we have 2 albums under our belt. The first album being Tierra Sin Fin, and the second one was Jamás Inquieto Resisten Ya. And but before that, I met Felipe when he was a kid over at Salute, and he was.
Damn, I missed that bar with the chicken coop.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They always used to let my homies play drum and bass there.
Oh,
so I was always there. Like the old lady was cool.
Dominguez.
She was cool.
She gave Nahualatos an opportunity to be who we are, and then we defined our sound in Salute, and it was cool. And I remember the day that I met Felipe's mom. And they were just like, if you guys ever need anything, let me know. And then I went to a business that they had, was a bail bonds, and I was like, I need a job. And they gave me the job. And I remember I was walking in and Felipe was walking out, and I was like, what's up, man? What's up? You know, and then I remember one night I was doing data entry at that bail bonds. It was a bail bonds. And we were doing data entry, and then Felipe walks in. Our other homie John walks in, who was the owner of the bail bonds, and a bunch of people walk in, and they like opened up the back room, kind of like a room like this but bigger, and it was a rehearsal space. And I was just like, what? And then they were just like, dude, we need someone to help on the drums. And I was just like, let's go, man. I'll help, And I was like, you don't even got to pay me, man. Whatever. And
did you know how to play drums before that?
I didn't know how to. I learned how to play the drums for Los Navalatos. Yeah, I was self-taught.
Sick.
And so then that's when I met Felipe, man. We started playing kind of like quick corporate gigs, Riverwalk gigs, and we were getting paid pretty good. And then me and Felipe were just like, I was like, yo, man, can you help with the Navalatos? And he was just like, I already know y'all music. Let's go.
Yeah. Actually, that's how I found out about y'all. Was at Salute. I was out there. I was much younger. I was probably like...
Oh, you must have been like, what, 16, 17?
That's when I met you. I was like that age, and then... I guess I was sneaking into that place watching y'all play.
Oh, man. Shout out Asnet, man. We didn't mean to give you so much grief, Asnet Dominguez.
But yeah, I was super stoked whenever you asked me. Actually, you needed me to fill in for somebody going to Del Rio.
That's right.
At the time, and that was like the first time I played with y'all over there. And after that, you were just like, hey, you want to jam?
Stick around, homie. Because stick around. You're really good at it. Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah. Let's go.
That's dope.
But I want to shout out Felipe, man, because like when the pandemic hit, a lot of us were trying to figure out what we needed to do creatively, and me personally, I was going through a lot mentally and struggled like a lot of people during COVID and the isolation. And Felipe, at the time, was living with our homeboy Arturo, and they went hard on creating stuff. And when they were posting their music, they were just like, yo, new song, boom, posted a new song. And then it would be like the next month, it'd be like, new song, and they were like, boom, posted a new song. And I was like, yo, y'all are getting down. And so then that's when he started to put together that album with Hopeless.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff came from the pandemic, 2020. I know a lot of people took time and were able to be creative through all that. Other people had harder times and stuff too, but I was super lucky to be living with my homie Arturo, shout out Arturo, and Sarah. And we actually had a podcast thing going during that time too. We did it for that year. It was called the Trigger Words Podcast. And we also started a band. It was like a whole show. We had it all mapped out. It was like we have one of our musician homies come in. We would interview them, and we'd write a song for the episode. And we record it. We had a little like mixer, so we would have like a drum set, get a couple mics on it, play the guitar, and have whoever it was. Like we had a saxophone player or keyboard player. We had Joaquin come in one of the songs too. We did a Halloween episode with him, actually. Yeah, it's all like on YouTube and stuff.
It's like the Chicanx versus Aliens podcast meets the Trigger Words podcast.
Yeah. So we were creative through all that. We created all that stuff, and it was cool. It was good. I was super stoked to be able to do that. And my homie Anthony, shout out to Anthony. He runs Magnifico Media, which is kind of like a small label here in town, and he engineered my album. He had all the equipment and stuff. And we had a lot of time, so I would go over and I was like, you know what, I have all these songs, all these ideas, definitely need to just get them out. So I did a 10-track album called Hope Bliss, and I did all the instrumentation on it. I produced it all, and he helped me record it, got that going, and helped motivate a lot of my homies, including Joaquin, to create a lot of new stuff.
Sick.
Mm-hmm. And actually, whenever we were coming out with our second album for Navalatos, Jamás Inquieto, like you mentioned, that's when I met Angel. He was helping us to promote that. He did a lot of really cool online stuff, and he drove the tour van when we played in Dallas and Houston.
Thanks for that, man.
Yeah, no, so how we met was through one of the gigs in Houston. I was living in Houston probably about 5 years, but I'm born and raised San Antonio. Worked there at an ad agency. Started doing festivals, started working within the music scene there with Nick Gaitan, who's a friend of theirs, and he started this thing called Texas Roots. And Texas Roots is it happens within the weekend of Thanksgiving. And so he was like, I'm going to put this showcase together, and I have this band from San Antonio, Los Nahuatlatos, and I was like, oh, that's badass. And then he started explaining, he's like, yeah, my buddy Nick Valdez, and I was like, oh shit. And I was like, I think I know Nick. I was like Nick Valdez, and so Nicolas, and so then we ended up, I knew Nick, and then I met these guys at the show that I was putting together all the promo material for. And then ever since we started, we connected on that, started doing all their promo material for Nahuatlatos. I did the
album cover.
I did the album cover. I did the re-release of Hamas with Vincent Valdez piece, and then I had a spin on it as well. And then the second one, I did all the material for that. So it was connected.
Oh, that's right. You did do the Tierra Sin Fin album with the spin.
The second spin of it, the second release of it.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
It was awesome. But yeah, ever since, we've been connected, and then, time has passed over 16 years, because, you were still new to the band. Felipe was still new to the band. Exactly.
That's right. That's it.
So yeah. Felipe was new to the band. I started, you said, you know what, I'll go with you guys. We'll do a little mini tour. We did Dallas, we did Houston, Austin.
That was actually a pretty amazing tour, because Los Nahuatlatos, we were like, people were, they loved us. We were a high energy band. We did our all original cumbias, polkas, and stuff. Nicolas Valdez on the accordion, and we were opening up for Grammy Award winning Tex Maniacs, man. And
hell yeah!
And they were closing out massive shows. They were like easily 400 to 600 people in their venues, and the venues were all top of the line venues. And it was like, some of the first times that we were playing in these cities, and we weren't playing little bar gigs. We were playing giant venues for big crowds, and we were opening up for people like Flaco Jimenez, and
man, shout out Flaco.
Shout out Flaco, man.
Yeah, right.
Flaco Jimenez, and we were, and it was like it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, man. And we were out there like just original music, Chicanos from San Antonio, man, playing music. It was like the experience was amazing. But yeah, it was like, this homeboy was like driving the van, and we were like acting all crazy, dude. It was like,
I still have photos. Actually, I was going through them and have some amazing photos of you and Nick. You passed out on the couch at Marisa's place in Houston. But that was old Joaquin. Oh, that was the old.
That was his old life.
Yeah, that was not sober. Yeah, not sober.
Joaquin. It's so funny because I have a story about when we were in Dallas, because we were playing a badass show in Dallas, and there wasn't any beer, man. And so like I was like, I didn't want to get really full on the beer because I didn't want to start burping on stage. So like I got a bottle of wine, and I found the bottle of wine I think at the dollar store, dude. They were selling bottles. And so I bought 2 of them, it was like $2-3 each. And so like I just hit the first bottle before I go on stage and knock it out. And we jump on stage, man. I start to feel it, man. It's like really heavy. So I'm playing all passionately, man. My heart's all in, all shedding tears over the songs that we're performing. And we give it the performance of our life, We're like giving it everything. And as soon as we got done, it was like the decompressed. And so like I drink a couple more drinks out of the other bottle that I bought, and I started getting drunk, dude. So I go and I pass out. And I'm trying to find a place to pass out, because I'm just like, yo, man, I don't want to vomit, so I'm gonna pass out. So I go and lay down, and I fall asleep, like hidden in between some bushes. Like I'm like, nobody can see me, dude. So like I'm like passed out, like I'm asleep, and then somebody I hear a voice, and somebody was like, I could hear a voice, and like people were like trying to see who that dead guy was, because. They just see this. My Stacey Adams were just pointing like that to the sky, dude. And then somebody said, yeah, there was a Flaco Jimenez was. We were walking him to the car, and he was just like, "Hey, hay un muerto por allí." And they were like, "No, está dormido." And then they were just like, I was like, "Damn, that was me, man."
Yo, that's so funny. Yeah, that was really funny. Now that I'm remembering, we went through the whole night, and it was a good time. I met Flaco Jimenez that night. He was like older dude. I had to come up to him and be like, "Hey, sir, like great to meet you. Like we've been listening to you my whole life, my whole family and stuff." And he had just got off stage, and he walked outside, and he's sitting on a chair smoking a cigarette. And I could tell he was like pretty tired, and I was like, I got to talk to him, right? So I tell him that stuff, and he's just like, "Okay, mijo." I was like, "Yeah, great to meet you, dude. Awesome." And then like the night goes on, and we're drinking, having a great time, and then everything's done. We're packing up. We're like, "Where's Joaquin? Where's Joaquin at?"
Dog, I was asleep.
And we had just packed everything up, and the last thing to go in was like a single little drum, and somebody was playing. They're like, and we started doing a little drum circle, just a little.
Everybody's like singing. They're chanting. They're drumming, and I swear, man, it was just like I was just like. and I just like woke up from the drunk, dude, and I go see the homies, man, and they're all like, where the fuck were you, man?
He walks up to the beat.
And I was just like, let's party. You know? I was like, still wanted to go, dude, but I was like, man, I had to sleep it off. It's crazy, man.
Hell yeah.
Fucking Dallas. That was a good time. We played the Fox. No, what was it?
The
Kessler. The Kessler, dude. The Kessler in Dallas. It was amazing. Amazing. There's recordings of that online on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah.
I got a weird Flacco story too. Like I was a little kid. I was going to Boise, Idaho, and my family's from Oregon, Ontario, Oregon. Shout out Orida.
Nice.
But so I'm flying up on the plane, and we get off. You know, we're getting to my luggage. My grandpa's like, "Mijo, you know who that is?" And I'm just like, I'm like 12. You know what I mean? So I didn't care about music or anything too much like that. And it was Flacco, and I guess he was with us the whole time on that plane. And my grandpa was like, "Go get his autograph."
Oh wow!
You better go.
Yeah, dude. That's cool, man.
And it was cool just because maybe like a couple years ago we celebrated his birthday. Rob from Bombasta invited me out at the last minute. Some print studio on the East, and we all took a shot together. And him and the Tex Maniacs played. It was a good show.
On the is it on the East Side?
Yeah,
a print shop.
Yeah,
that was it's the Cruz Ortiz's shop. Is it?
What's it called?
Now it's called like the Burnt Nopal.
But it used to be like I want to say like
Snake Hawk.
There we go.
Snake
yes,
Hawk.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Snake Hawk Press. There we go.
So I've known Cruz Ortiz for a long time because my mother used to be an organizer. So my mother has been an organizer for the community, and she used to organize murals. And she used to get people to do murals in the community that were teaching the history of like Chicano history in Del Rio, and that program started to get recognized by Lowrider magazine, and they were doing articles on my mom and the project, and so then Cruz Ortiz and Manuel Castillo at the time went to go see. They wanted to go see how it was work so that they can do an organization here in town, and so they went to Del Rio to go check it out, and that's where we kind of met Cruz Ortiz for the first time. And then they came over to San Antonio and started the San Antonio Cultural Arts.
Oh, badass.
So then now San Antonio Cultural Arts is, it's like the leading mural program in San Antonio on the other side and stuff. And so there's a little historical tie between me and Cruz Ortiz and San Antonio Cultural Arts. Is cool.
Man, I love what they're doing in the hood. They're keeping it. It looks good out there right now.
Yeah, right now they're shout out to San Antonio Cultural Arts. If you follow them on Instagram, they're looking to restore some of the murals that because in the West Side, once the owner sells their buildings, they have to they'll cover up those murals, and that's our history, man. So we need to educate more folks about keeping those murals and then the importance of the what is like a modern day hieroglyphic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's teaching our story, and so we want if people have to sell their buildings, they need to keep those murals up. But they're currently restoring some murals. They're currently trying to restore some murals that are in the hood.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Crystal Torres leads that part up, all the restorations. She actually has an event this weekend as well. She's doing a 1906. She's going to be there at 1906. But they're all doing amazing things outside of San Antonio Cultural Arts. It's like the restoration, keeping culture. But they're also, as artists themselves, they're all expanding outside. So she's doing some good stuff. I just came from a art show. Rudy Herrera, he just had a show at Art Pace as well. He's part of San Antonio. I just was there right now. Masa Boys. So yeah. So shout out to those dudes. We started connecting with them, and awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
I remember when he was painting that mural downtown.
Mm-hmm.
You know which one I'm talking? The one right by St. Anthony.
Yep. On the crest.
Yeah, there you go. The old crest building. Man, that. I love I love Selena. I love Fiesta. But I was so happy to see a mural that wasn't like
original
Selena, Fiesta, Spurs. You know what I mean? And I remember when I asked him about it, he was like, "Yo, it was a dream I had." Mm-hmm. And I was just like, "Dude, that's so dope!"
That's pretty amazing, man. Yeah, I know. And I love when that's I was saying this before we started recording. San Antonio is like a brown mecca of artists, dude. There's a lot of people here that do amazing things, and it gets overshadowed by Frida's art, or not the actual art, but people doing versions of crowd kind of like a appealing type of art. You know what I mean? And
bootlegs.
yeah,
Bootlegs of it.
The gimmicky stuff.
Yeah.
Like I hate saying that. I'm sorry. A lot of people could talk shit, but oh well.
Yeah.
But but the truth is that there's a lot of artists that really push the boundary of art in San Antonio. And they're some of the most. That's what I love about San Antonio, is that this is a little Chicano mecca of art and culture and creativity. There's so many amazing genres of music that happen here, and like it's just endless. It's endless, and this place has so much creativity. It's amazing. You can go. You can see, and even in one day, you can see several genres of music happening, and they'll happen at any venue in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, man.
Right on.
Like Felipe Jr. and when I was he plays like indie rock, that indie sound, right? That indie music. And I remember when I first moved to San Antonio, I saw some of the first indie music that I'd ever been introduced to. It was like Fin del Mar. And, it was like their music I was like, dude, what is this? It's not rock and roll. It's not like soul. It's not like, it was just like this, like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. How would you explain it? What would you explain your genre is?
It's definitely like, for me personally, it's like indie punk style, because I grew up very much into like punk music and stuff. But same thing, man. When I first got into indie, I was like, man, this is cool. This is like different. It's like a different kind of original sound.
Hey, speaking of punk, I think like this Sunday is the anniversary of when Sex Pistols played Randy's, bro.
Oh, actually, yeah, that was actually.
Was that last Sunday?
It was last weekend.
There we go.
There we go. I went to that show, and there was a panel of people up there talking about that event. They showed some photos that had never before seen from that event, from the crowd and like the band Sex Pistols, and it was a handful of dudes. Like one of the guys from the Crayolas was on there. Mm-hmm. A couple of photographers who were there, and somebody who like ran a record shop. But it was cool like hearing them talk about that, because I've always been interested in that. It's like, dude, those guys came to San Antonio, like one of the biggest bands.
They came to San Antonio and they
Randy's,
fucking rocked
They
it.
rocked it.
Yeah. So to hear their like,
Did you see this? Did you see the show on Hulu?
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
There's a show on Hulu,
yeah.
and I thought it was super dope because they show like the sign, and I was just like, oh
really?
Damn, yeah. I was like, that's
yeah.
fucking cool, like, because that sign, it's an iconic ass sign. It's all lit up. You don't see anything else lit up like that around the hood like
On
that.
That's where I saw
Side.
Beastie Boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw
No
Beastie
way,
Boys.
they played there.
At
Yeah.
Randy's?
At Randy's.
Dude,
Yeah.
actually, yeah. So
I saw
those,
Beastie Boys, Check Your Head.
Nice.
Who was L7 played there.
yeah. So I
It was
found
a
out
fucking
that
amazing show.
a bunch of bands came and played at Randy's, because those guys were talking about it. They said the Ramones even played there. I was like, what? That's crazy.
I'm still tripping. Beastie Boys played there. I remember I saw them like Alamo Dome,
Yeah.
Hello Nasty tour
Right.
Oh, nice.
with Rancid and Asian Dove Foundation.
Oh shit.
They had the
Asian
circle
Dove,
stage.
yeah.
It was a crazy stage.
Yes.
That shit was dope.
Yeah, it was amazing. That's when they got back into like stadium. So when they had to redeem themselves, that's exactly what they had to do. They had to go back to doing gigs at like smaller venues.
Damn,
And
that's awesome though. That's
and
awesome
seeing
you caught
them
that.
Go from like this big, like well, actually I didn't catch them before, but I was a big fan before. Pause Boutique, and then once they released Check Your Head, I was like, shit, I gotta go see them. I have to see them. Went to go see it. It was fucking amazing.
I appreciate that about you, man. I appreciate that about you. Like I'm a live musician, and I love to play live music. But I spend a lot more of my time playing live music than going to live shows. And this dude, man, like I'm like he'll post pictures or videos of him. He has this camera that what is it, like a little 360 camera?
The 360. Yeah.
Oh, you got the
Yeah.
Yeah, and like so then whenever he goes to shows, he'll like do the 360 camera, and it's amazing, dude. I'm just like, yo, why did you go to that show? You're like, oh, I just came back this weekend from that show. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah, because I mean, I consume so much. I consume so much, all different genres, and I mean, like noise and stuff that's challenging to your ears. But I'll consume it just because it's an experience overall. Like that's what I love. I love going to shows. It's ever since. I mean, I think I got turned on to music when I started skateboarding. All my homeboys were older. I was like probably 10 years old. All my homeboys were all 18 years old skating. into Dead Milkman and like all these punk bands, and they give me cassettes and shit, and so
cassettes.
I was like, they gave me a fucking mix of everything, all kinds of like punk, ska, all kinds of genres, and that like influenced everything. And so I just had this huge palette from all my older friends, my sisters as well, and I mean, music has always been my thing, and I've always connected with musicians as well. I used to actually, one of my good friends in college was Eric Breck, and Eric Breck was the original drummer from DRI, and he's the one that introduced me.
Shoot.
He was the one that introduced me to my wife, and so it was just like fucking weird
awesome.
meeting people throughout my life. I went on a mini tour with DRI. Threw up all over Kurt's shit. That like him and his wife were all stayed in one room, and I got fucked up at a show. Wow. Puked all over their shit. They threw me inside of a shower. Woke up, and I was like,
Yeah, it was one of those.
It was one of those things where I was like,
So it was a good night.
It was a good night, but I mean, obviously, I toned it back. I would always like tone it back as I matured, and just when I was around people, it was like I had access. I would always just like meet people, and so it was just like it was easy for me too, because it was like I want to partner with you guys. It was always that was easy. It was like, what do you need help with? Ever since I was like little, it was like, what do you need help with? Draw something up or help however. But yeah, I mean, I love music. I love these guys, connecting with them and still doing stuff with them right now. It's like that's the goal, is always to kind of like push them, push myself, and elevate, people that are super amazing creatives, and these dudes are all the projects. That's why I was like, shit. I was like, the goal is to start a label without like really having official, but it was like we already have a roster of people. It's like that's the goal in the end. It's like we already have all these projects. We could be stone's throw. It's like that's the goal. Is that's the level that we want to be.
Badass, yeah.
Blowing my mind right now, dude. That's badass. DRI is definitely one of my favorite bands.
Yes.
That Houston crossover thrash, talking about punk music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can I play a track from
Los Navalatos?
Can I play a track from that?
Sure, man.
Is there something you'd recommend?
What? I don't know. What's
My favorite's always old school. That's actually my mom's favorite,
Nice.
and I love old school. That's like one of my favorites.
This right here.
Yeah.
Do you know what year it was y'all recorded this one?
I don't remember, man. Salud, cheers. 16 years and those Navalatos, man.
That's you doing the vocals?
Actually, three of us. Me, Vocab, and Trey stepped there.
Oh, like vocab?
Vocab, she's on this. She's singing. I never knew that. If you listen to it, you can hear her. She was a hired gun for a Navalatos track. Love her.
And that's dope.
That's Nicolas on the accordion. Shout out.
God, I thank you for bringing my love true. Ahora sí siento bien.
Damn. So good. My mama loved this.
Ahora sí soy feliz.
Soy feliz.
You've put my heart at ease. I think the sky up above corazón. Si te vas, no me dejes atrás en el olvido. I saw you in my dreams. That means you were meant for me.
And I always get lost in this one.
Yeah,
It's so good.
it's my cruising song. I'm just like,
Yeah, man.
That's Luis on the guitar.
yeah, this is a beast.
Luis Gonzalez.
Shout out, Luis. How do you end it, man? What do you say at the end?
The name of this song is called Old School.
Hell yeah, that was dope.
Yes.
Yes, man. So we hope. So we like So that song came from that the experience that Nicolas and I both come from Chicano movement parents. Both of our parents were community organizers and Chicano movement pioneers, people that were really handling stuff in the community at the time. And lowrider, Chicano oldies, that sound was really big. And so whenever we started writing this tune, it really pulled in from that era. And the one thing that we did a little different was that that we added the accordion to it, first of all, which is a Nahualato signature. The other one is that there's 5-part harmonies in that. Normally a harmony for, I guess, a song like that is just 3, 4, but we put 5. And that's because my biggest influences are like Donny Hathaway and Stevie Wonder, and they do like that really deep jazz / neo soul kind of a harmony stack, and so that's what I did. But Vocab and Trey are on there, and me and Vocab and Trey had a concept to do 3-part neo soul music and deep vocal house music. And we would practice all the time, man. We would practice at my house. And so then when we were recording Old School, I said, yo, come help me do these voices. But then that was the only song that we really did with Nahualatos that sounded that way. And I wanted more. I wanted to do that more. I wanted that Chicano soul, because that for me is where I come from. I come from, those, one of the first tapes that I ever owned was a mix of Chicano doo-wop, and that was like my introduction, some of my first introductions to music. And my mother she wanted to hire the Royal Jesters for her wedding when she was younger. So like that was like it was her thing, right? That's her thing. And so that's what we did with Joaquin, the Joaquin project, right? The Joaquin Soul project was that we were gonna focus hard on Chicano soul and do that and grab that energy that we just heard right now and turn it and do it over and over and over again and do all the different versions of that. And so that's what we're doing, man. It feels good. We do it live, shit. All that 3-part harmony stuff is not hard. It's not easy to do live.
Yeah,
we do
yeah.
that live, And so, we're aside from Eddie and the Valiants, we're probably one of the only other bands that do those a focused doo-wop 3-part harmony in San Antonio. Channeling Royal Jesters, channeling the Volumes, channeling Sonny Ozuna and the Sunliners, channeling Stevie Wonder channeling Donny Hathaway, Denise Williams, all that kind of stuff. So it's good, man.
Like you were talking about a while ago, there's like a resurgence of that going on the West Coast and stuff. People, actually, we were talking about it earlier before we came over here with somebody about collecting records. A lot of those San Antonio bands from the 60s, like Sonny Ozuna and Royal Jesters, they were like running all of San Antonio, playing live, playing backyard parties, west side, south side, east side even. And this whole resurgence is coming out of the West Coast. And people we know, like, have these records. These are very rare records, and they're worth, like, a lot of money now. If you look it up, these records are worth, like, hundreds of dollars. But you could find it, like, at a yard sale somewhere because one of our grandparents probably has those records. But they're very sought after from, like, West Coast collectors and, like, Penrose, these current labels, things like that. It's crazy to think about how there are only a couple of bands like Eddie and the Valiants and our Joaquin Soul Project that are like bringing that back around here in San Antonio.
Yeah, from where it come from, the land of its origination. Like, soul music, right, is soul music, and that's, they could have stemmed from different parts of the world, like Motown's Detroit or like the different parts, but there was something special about San Antonio's barrios, that the Chicano soul was being created here, where Chicanos where they had the only access they had to music was what they were making, and so they were hearing songs and then they were like they're redoing them in their own fashion with their accents, and I whenever I sing with Eddie and the Valiants, I mock some of the accents, like for example, like if you're we're singing Ain't No Big Thing, right? And the guy that sings Ain't No Big Thing, originally sings it different, but the guy who did it in San Antonio had a little accent. Hey, let me take you now. I had a brand new love. And it, like, I put that on I mocked that a little bit because that's what we listened to on the record, and that's what made it Chicano soul. And so, yeah, it's like, and once again, San Antonio is the mecca for that music. Once again, San Antonio is the place where that music's coming from. And people are dude, Joe Jama records are going, Joe Jama, I like to consider him the Stevie Wonder of San Antonio soul, right? He's like the guy that did that. He would do like jazz stuff, and he would really test the boundaries of voice. And he was a composer. He also composed the music. One of his records easily goes for $4,000, dude, online. It's a 45 with 2 songs on it. One side has one song, the other side has another song. And it's a little 7-inch record that goes for about $4,000. And he's still alive, dude. And he's a poor Chicano here in San Antonio, living his best life at his age and still writing, still composing, still putting out music. And so, it's just that it's rare in the rest of the world. But, you could probably go to Janie's Records and probably find it or find something of his, there. Yeah, shout out to Joe Jama.
Shout out to Janie's.
Shout out to Janie's. Yes. Pop fireworks so we can know where it's at. Come over here to Janie's.
Yeah, shout out my neighbors. They crack me up. I'm coming home from work, like right there, Culebra, Camino Santa Maria, and like I just see the fireworks. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be one of those nights.
It's Baby Friday. Oh no, what's that? Baby Friday or Thursday? Yeah, Baby Friday.
Hey, it is Baby Friday. You're right.
We start partying already, man. I love it, man. Yo, man. Can I shout out my podcast a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about it, man. Yeah. I wanted to dive into that too, man.
Let's do it. Do a little bit. I have a podcast called the Chicanx versus Aliens podcast, and so it's a podcast where I talk to community members about their experience with the paranormal and UFOs and that kind of stuff, including cryptozoology and black magic, because we come from a cultura of magic and curanderos and brujos and that kind of stuff. And
yeah, dude, I totally get it.
And so, yeah, so when I talk to people, all that stuff comes up. And I think most importantly, right, this is something that, just to shout out Puro Unity too, right? One of the most important things that we're bringing to light, our community and the work that we do. And so for me, the Chicanx vs. Aliens podcast on one end is creating a narrative for our raza around the crazy stories. El Camaroncito, right? El Camaroncito, and when people talk about the chicken-footed soldier and with the goat hoof. One foot was chicken foot, one foot was a goat hoof. But so when people tell the stories are just like, they sound crazy, but it's like these are experiences from our people, and we don't. And so then when they go talk to the doctor about what they're going through, the doctors are just like, oh, you're the one that told the Camaroncito story. Like, no, you're crazy. But no, these are like some things that we share amongst the community. And so what I'm doing is I'm lifting up that narrative. When people see UFOs, right? I don't want them to feel crazy because the rest of the world is seeing UFOs. And then also too, if you think about podcasting, right? Accessibility to equipment, accessibility to airwaves, and how to know to manage and work with computers. Like, our people know how to do that, but there's not a lot of our people's podcasts, right? And so for me, the Chicano Experts Aliens was an answer for that on the UFO side, on the paranormal side. There's no Chicanos talking about paranormal. There's no people, Chicanos talking about UFOs. And so I was trying to bring an answer to that. And so, dude, the beautiful thing is that because I have that podcast, I get tons of hits about things happening all over the world about UFOs and ghosts and shit. And dude, San Antonio's haunted as hell.
Yes.
Haunted, dude.
Yes.
Dude, and so like the minute
I mean, come on, just the whole Alamo thing, like,
yeah,
that's enough right there.
And all that was happening around here, right? So like, yeah, the Alamo, it was happening where the Alamo is, but it was also happening around here. Like, it was happening over by Our Lady of the Lake, right? It was happening in these neighborhoods where
these are all older parts of town.
Yeah, the soldiers were around here. They were dying, but then then you look forward in the history, and there was other things that were happening around here. So there's like a mark. There's like a repetitive. What I like some paranormal stuff is like repetition of spirits, right? They just repeating themselves, and then some of them, shit, is some crazy evil spirits where our ancestors were calling in brujos and they were conjuring spirits, and those spirits never left.
Well, my question to you is, where can I get a good limpia? I've tried a few people here and I don't trust anyone. Like, I'm blessed. Like, my abuelita, like, she was a healer up north in Oregon. She'd have people from like Montana, Washington, South Dakota, Utah. They'd always, every time I'd go up there, every weekend, there's a whole nother family there chilling with her. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I didn't get it. You know what I mean? I didn't understand. I didn't get it. I didn't learn Spanish till like 2 years ago. So I never got to properly have like a conversation with her. It's one of my biggest regrets in life. Mm-hmm. But I know I was blessed because she would always give me these limpias. And, I'd feel great after them. I don't know if it was a mental thing or I don't know. All I know is like, now I'm trying to get some, like, just get a little cleansing, and I just can't find like someone I can get in groove with it. Like,
yeah, man. Well, there's like a hierarchy of that usage, right? So like, if you have to pay for it, it's probably not good. It probably won't work. And so, but the most important piece is that it is from somebody that is vetted in the community as a healer. And so, I'm not gonna name drop here.
Well, then off air, let's talk about.
Yeah, we can talk about off air. But there's definitely, this community does have a history of healers, and actually, something that I've learned about this community is that there is a history of psychics.
Really?
And so, and because there were card carrying psychics in San Antonio, and San Antonio is one of those places where a lot of people were tapped into that, and they were doing that work. But also, San Antonio is very special, and I think that this is another piece that I talk about on some of the podcasts with some of the community. But San Antonio there was a lab at the base here. Was it Kelly or something? But that's where acid was first tested.
What?
Yeah. And so some of the acid that our famous musicians loved to take and do acid and play, it was coming from San Antonio.
What?
Yeah, man. And so like Charles Manson's acid, that whole history of his crazy shit escapades on acid, that was all San Antonio acid. Yeah, man. So historically, San Antonio is a very special place, and it's so funny because people believe that there is like an underground bunker there at those bases,
and I'm pretty sure there is.
And people have seen UFOs come from the base. Yeah, so it's strange, man. San Antonio is a super special place, but super haunted, super paranormal.
Did you hear that rumor that during the New Year's fireworks there was a UFO sighting?
Yeah, but but there hasn't been any evidence pop up. I haven't seen any videos, I don't know if other people have seen that. Like I haven't. Normally, when there's a UFO sighting, people hit me immediately, dude, and they'll be like, "Yo, did you see that?" Or "Yo, go to the sky, go outside, there's something in the sky." And like I'll get DMs of people telling me like, "Go check out the moon, like something's flying around the moon." And I've had that several times. Like when the moon is full, there's a lot of like people looking at the moon. There's a lot of people looking in the sky, and if they see something, I'll get hit, right? But I didn't get nothing for New Year's, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Please, if you have it, drop it in the comments. Drop the link.
Yeah, drop the link. I know that there was one that the Express News pushed out on their Instagram or something, but it didn't. There's no video attached.
There's no footage of it.
Nah. But there has been, even so, like me, I watch a lot of UFO videos and spend a lot of my time watching, researching UFOs but there is a lot of like a kick up of like UFOs in the world right now, and a lot of people are seeing them, and they're starting to show themselves a lot, man, a lot.
Yeah. So they changed the name. The government, it's like UAPs now.
Yeah.
What is that?
Unidentified
Aerial phenomenon.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's getting real.
Yeah, well, didn't a few years ago they kind of like said they're real? Like then the government kind of come clean about it.
Not kind of. They had a whole ass Congress about it. So the government.
So they came clean about it. Well, as much as they can come clean.
Redacted, very redacted. They were just like, we want to say that there is a possibility that there might be, and yes, we are saying yes that there is a possibility. There is a possibility of a possibility of a possibility that UFOs are real. And it was like, that was as far as they went, but it was just like, just say yes, man. Just say you got the aliens, man. You release them too. Aliens. But there's like historically an alien that's been working with the government, and his name is like something Thor. What? And he looks like so there's thousands of alien races according to a lot of research. Valiant Thor, and there's a guy he works for the government, Valiant Thor. And he looks like a regular dude. He's like, dressed up, but he's the according to people who are paying attention to this. He's like their informant. Like he's their outworldly informant. He like reaches out to other alien races and talks to them and brings information. And then there's something other that was introduced to me by my father-in-law, who is a peyote. He's a peyote medicine man.
Whoa.
And he heard about this thing called the what is it called? It's like the Universal Congress, and it's like people from all the different parts of the world get together, and they get together to have a conversation with a medium who channels an alien that is in Congress with people from different universes.
Whoa.
From different solar systems. And then he comes into a person's body and he tells Earth what needs to be done in the next several years. And a lot of his message is like, stop warring. There needs to be more peace. People need to act in love. And so like a lot of this stuff is like kind of like real cheesy. It's like, it's super cheesy.
But then again, I'm pretty sure there's a weird language barrier.
Well, yeah, and then the other thing too is that the guy's like a really nerdy white guy. So it's like, this could be.
Well, I mean, who else would you believe?
That's why I do the podcast.
Yeah. Like if I popped up saying shit like that, would you believe me?
That's why I do the podcast. Because yes, I would believe you, but yeah, everybody just like, hey, I want to tell you, the Universal Congress says it wants you guys to work in love,
Okay,
bro. Yeah. But yeah, so he was telling me about that, and so sure enough, they do have a yearly gathering where they relay the message. And yeah, man. But also, there's another fun fact, man. So one of the things that I did was I did a call out for people who have experienced alien abduction. And I was hit in one night. I was hit with like 50 people.
Wow.
A lot of people in San Antonio believe that they've been abducted by UFOs. And they have stories to go with it, man. They have lapses in time, and they have visions of other UFOs and aliens working on their body. I actually have a friend that has a brother who suffered through cancer after a UFO abduction, after alien abduction, and she'll never forget the faces. And I have people who've seen different versions of aliens, and from a what they like that typical the lights. They're laying on their back and they see the lights and they see 3 or 4 aliens looking over them. Like they'll relay that message to me, man. And it's crazy, dude. There's a lot of people in this city, man, that have experienced a lot. And so it's fun. It's nonstop. My podcast is nonstop. But I've got to interview some amazing people. I got to interview. So one of the interviews that I did was, this guy has it on his audio, but I did using this same system. I did an interview with Juan Tejeda, and we basically deconstructed San Antonio's mythical stories. Like the Donkey Lady Bridge, La Llorona. And we deconstructed it, and then my OBS system didn't record it. So he has it on audio. Yeah, but then the other one was I got to interview Jesse Borrego. We talked about we talked a little bit about evil Hollywood and his experience working in Hollywood. But there's a satanic side to Hollywood, and so I'm like hoping to release that soon. But I gotta sit and chat with him.
Oh, so that ain't out yet?
It ain't out yet, man. I'm working on dropping. I have I'm sitting, because you probably know the struggle, man. I edit my podcasts, and so it's hard to sit and do that. It takes if I'm chatting with somebody for 3 hours, I'm editing for another 3 hours, and then I'll have to go back another couple hours to look and listen. And so it's like, it takes a whole day to kind of edit a podcast.
I don't edit anything. I'm real lazy. I just kind of put it together and pump it out.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I'm just pumping them out right now. Like, I'm having a lot of fun doing this.
But yeah, man.
I love this so much.
And the vibe is like that, right? The vibe is the conversation. The vibe is having this talks with people. With me, people will be like, well, like, I don't want that on there, because they'll tell me some crazy shit, like levitating. I was levitating in my bed, and I think that was connected to one of my tias who did a bruja, and they're just like, I don't want to put that on there because I still live with my tia, or I know my tia and that kind of stuff, and so then I'll have to cut. I have to cut stuff, but I'd never stop recording. I keep the conversation going. I have these. The other thing that I do is
one of the best one was when you interviewed your neighbor back in Del Rio, and the best part was him explaining super close to the mic, and then he's like, "Nah, man, I saw this dark shadow, but I was over here," and then he starts walking, and you hear him,
and he's all like, "I was over here, right here. I saw that dark shadow."
And then he's like, you hear the dogs barking, and he's walking far, and it's the mic's there, so it's super raw. That's what I love about it, is that people are really giving you everything, and it's believable to them. It's you're hearing stories that are so believable to them, and it was, and they're and they see that every single time. They see it in those areas, spirits, UFOs.
Well, I'll tell you. So that neighbor, so they hit me. He says, "This guy, he goes on and off being sober, so he struggles a lot with heavy drugs, but." So he kind of mentioned to me that there was this giant bird, kind of visiting the community, and he was like, "I seen it, bro, man. I ain't lying, bro. Come on, man. Believe me." I'm just like, "I believe you, homie. Whatever." And we went back to Del Rio to go kind of visit with my family. We played a show out there. I think it might have been Los Navalatos that played out there, and we were partying in the backyard, and we were all taking shots, and people were hanging out and whatever, and then I don't know what it was that I looked up and was just chilling. I was looking to the sky, because in Del Rio the stars are so clear, and this giant bird flew across the sky. When I say giant,
you saw the lechuza,
dog. Let me just tell you, when people say that they see lechuza, they say, "Yeah, I saw an owl." No, man, I'm talking about witch, half bird, the size of a human being, massive wingspan, and it was flying across the sky, and I was just I was like, "Look," right? I told him we were hanging out, and we were all there, and I was like, "Yo, look." And I had cousins and people that were all there, and everybody looked up, and they see this giant bird, right? It was literally everybody looked up. The party went completely silent, and then everybody just kind of after it passed, everybody kind of was just like, "Well, good night, man. It was good seeing you." And yeah, so, see you later. The party ended, dude. People were scared, dog. It was. But I would say that I was there witnessing this. I experienced this with other members of the family and other members of the community. And the guy who's the crazy that had been saying that was visiting him on a regular basis, it corroborated. It was like, the story's real. The story was real.
Man, I believe it. Like I said, my grandma was a healer. She did a lot of this, a lot of that. I just remember me and my brother like sneaking back into the house. We had to walk like a quarter of a mile to get back to the house. It was a rancho like up there, and yeah, man, I remember that bird just like following us, playing with the dog, like big enough to where the dog's on its hind legs, like, and it was a big dog, it was a pit bull, like, yeah, man, it's crazy.
So I've seen the lechuza several times in my life, and the first time that I saw the lechuza, I was like 10, and that's when I had like around the ages of 9 and 10 years old is when I had personally experienced a UFO abduction, alien abduction. So around that time was when all the paranormal started kicking up for me. And where's all my
out in Del Rio?
In Del Rio, yeah. And so that's where my story comes from, and that's where for me the podcast began. I was like, I had a story, and I needed to talk to somebody about it, and then I started talking to people about it, and people were telling me their stories, and then I was just like, I need to record this, and then started recording it.
Hell yeah, bro.
But, I'm celebrating 3 years of the Chicano Experts podcast, but the last year, I didn't really release a lot. I released like 2 or 3 episodes, man. And I'm like, it's hard, man. It's hard. I wish if I had help, I would, would make it more. But with for me, the success of it all has been that I've been teaching community members how to podcast and teaching them about lifting the narrative of people. So now, like, other people want to do like community health worker podcasts. We did a podcast with Fuerza Unida for their youth, talking about them learning about their own mental health, right, and growing up in a poor neighborhood and doing.
Hey, that's crazy. Like, Hispanic people don't talk about their mental health.
For sure, yeah.
Like, we're just supposed to hold it in or like just be drunk about it. I don't know. I don't know how to get it. I'm still trying. I'm damn near pushing 40. I'm still trying to understand how to express my feelings.
For sure.
Like, it's fucking wild, man.
And
I'll never get it.
And I asked them simple questions like, what color are you feeling right now? And it was like, I feel yellow, oh, really? And it'd be like, yeah, because I'm feeling like I'm having a good day. I woke up and and I'm just like, oh, man, they just expanded. And, like, somebody would be like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling blue. And it's like, yeah, I'm sad. It's just like, damn, it's like raza expressing their sadness in this kind of way. Older people expressing their actual emotions and feelings, and I'm recording this, and it's like, this is definitely a tool. This is definitely a tool for healing and working in that community,
It's definitely like different, right? Like, it's not something that, we understand it totally, because coming from where we come from, people don't exactly do that. But like you were saying, that's like a huge first step, just acknowledging it even. So that's a big thing too.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, and 2020 definitely was one of the catapult for like so many people to be able to like had this trauma, this emotion that I was dealing with, and then that's when you started to see the release. I feel like there's a lot of that right now.
Speaking of which, man, some of the work that I'd like to do is connecting that to Chicano soul, because I feel like San Antonio is like, we express that emotional energy through some of our music, right? So like, when I listen to Vicente Fernandez and I grab my tequila, I was like, and it's just like, oh, bro. And like this is like a, this is like a San Antonio, like a universal language right there, right? And so, one of the things that I want to do with Chicano Soul is use that same, use that energy too. Where we're talking, the song that we listened to, Old School, like it like kicked up a bunch of emotions for me, right?
Yes.
And so, it's just like, how can we use that, what do they call that? Like an emotional trigger, like music, to express our actual emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, finding healthy ways to do those things and like talk about them and feel those feelings in the open. Everybody does it differently, just like you said. Somebody's got to have a song to listen to express it and be like, this is a cool way to do it or something, make you look masculine or something.
Gotta piss.
Oh, shit.
Angel, man.
Well, thank you for coming and doing this. I know I've been bugging you about it for a while. I'm glad we fucking finally hashed it all out.
For sure, man. For sure. I'm glad to be here. And I let me tell you, man, like, when I first saw you, I think I'd already been following you on Instagram or whatever, and I saw that when you released the logo, right? I saw this logo, and then
you know what that logo is, right?
Yeah, it's a Tapatio.
No.
You did have one though, right?
Yeah, I had the Tapatio one, but you know what that is? He says Chiles and HEB.
Oh,
yes.
Yo, that's it.
Did you add you added sideburns to your
No, I add to myself. Shout out Gemini Vato. He man, I could just tell him what I'm thinking about, and he runs with it and like always exceeds my expectations.
That's what's up. Yeah, when I first saw you, and I remember you had released the podcast. I was like listening to it, and I was just like, "This is dope, man." Because you have a lot of artists come on here, man. Like a lot of amazing people come on here.
Well, I told you where I come from. You know what's up.
Yeah.
I'm my past life, I was blessed. I'm still blessed. I'm still here doing it. Yeah, man. I'm surprised at who like when I had Making Movies come on. That was just like that happened so quick. The homie was just like, "Yo, my band, my friend's band's gonna be in town. Can we get them on your podcast?" I was just like, "Yeah, let's run it. Let's do it." Now, like, I think, like, I know this summer I'm a show in Kansas, and I'm trying to show a bunch of, like, Kansas people. Like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to appeal to the Kansas crowd. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out.
But you're doing it.
Yeah, man. I'm doing it, man. It's hard. Like.
Only way through it, man. You got to do it.
Nothing to it but to do it. Insert your hashtag quoted right here.
Do or do not. There is no try. You know what I'm saying? Shout out my man Yoda.
Yeah, Don Yoda, dude.
And like when I hear people saying, "Well, I'm trying to do this," it's just like, no, bro, you're doing it. Like if you were trying to do it, you'd be jerking off at the crib, bro. But you're doing it. Like you're doing something. Like I don't know.
I always tell people one of the things that I do in the morning, right? Because I try to get to the gym 6 a.m. It's like I count to 3.
Hey, I commend you for that, bro.
1, 2, 3. I'm like, the alarm's going off. I turn the alarm off, and my first thought is 1, 2, 3. Boom, up, out. Let's go.
Just count around it, man. You just got to do it. You know, it can be hard sometimes just to get started.
Yeah.
Ooh, that shot hit me right now. I'm awake now. I was asleep earlier.
Let's start the podcast over.
No, honest to God, this time has flown by. It feels like I've been here 15 minutes with y'all. We're going on like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look out for us, world. Look out for us, man. Chicano Soul, Joaquin's Chicano Soul project, the Union of and Felipe Jr.'s indie music, man. Like, we are coming for San Antonio. We didn't even mention that the fact that we are all we're DJ, we're record DJs, all vinyl DJs, and we spin on a regular basis. And I mean, we're coming for y'all, man. We have so much to do. We have all of us are constantly creating. There's constant art happening. When we get together, like even more even ideas that we hadn't even thought about will come out when we're hanging out. And so like, we have so follow us up, man. Follow us up at Joaquin Soul Music, at Felipe _Jr_SA, at 10:07, a union of, and Puro Unity. Follow us up, look us up, and let's rock. Let's rock San Antonio. You know what I mean?
Well, first of all, I didn't know you had your hands in so many different projects. I love that, bro. That's what's up.
Yeah, yeah. We're and not to even mention that I'm also a community organizer for UT Health. I mean that's like what I do full time. I'm a community organizer. I teach people about health and wellness. But that's a whole other one. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm also working with the Brown Berets. I'm also working in the community, organizing around civil rights and social justice. I play drums for Los Nahualatos. I sing for Eddie and the Valiants. I'm a corporate musician. All of us are all part of all of that stuff. So
I love that, bro. Man, I got a picture of one of the Brown Berets when the riots were happening here in town.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when they rioted a little bit that one time.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to show them that, but I just don't know how to get a hold of them.
I'll connect you.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I'm not an official Brown Beret, but I have a history of Brown Beret because my mother was a Brown Beret, and so I've been working in that forever. But yeah, I have a connection.
Sick. All right, I'll bug you in a bit about that.
Word.
Well, yeah. It's about that time. If you listen this long, I appreciate you. I love all of y'all. Tell me what I can do better at. Tell me what I'm whack at. Just talk to me. Quit being so quiet with me about it. Thank y'all for sitting with me tonight. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you kicking it with me. Nice to meet y'all.
Yes. Thank you.
And always a pleasure seeing you. I love seeing you at La Fitness. And when I say that, I mean that, bro. Like, I feel alone there. Well,
You got me, brother.
y'all stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I would do unless it's free.